stuff?
Nope, we're good. I even got a list of 5 that you might have forgotten.
Really?
Yep.
I am excited. I am excited about this. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to Horror Conversations. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan. Destiny could not be here tonight. She's not feeling well, and Stephanie couldn't as well. But they send their love, and they tell me to tell you that. This is brought to you by... Well, I was just going to get ready to introduce you. I was going to say this is brought to you by Carolina Fear Fest, and I am so happy to have my buddy Dan the Master Shake here with me talking horror. What's up, Dan? How you doing, bud?
Division of Scene Snobs Incorporated.
Damn right. I love it, man. And dude, as much as we're working together now, it's like I'm having so much fun, like, because I haven't had a writing partner. God, it's gotta be like 12 years since I left LA.
My job. Unofficially. I mean, not with you. Like, my actual job requires an writing.
I know, and you're great at it, man. So it's awesome now to talk some horror. And I'm a guy who knows his limitations. Like, I know I can write, but I also know my grammar limitations.
My limitations are 5'11", so you surpass those.
Swipe left if you're under 5'11".
Dude, I don't all those things now that go around. I would have been so screwed if I had been part of this generation. Oh my gosh. Like, perpetually 1 inch below where everybody else is going to swipe right.
Just lie about it.
I don't. I'm bad at it.
I've lied about my height before.
Make yourself shorter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not 6'8". I'm only 6'5".
It's already off-putting if you say 6'8". I find if you say it around your friends, they're like, "That's awesome." But if you say it around a stranger, they're like,
except if you're like trying to be, a slasher or something like that. If you're trying to be in a horror movie, like, I got to imagine being 6'8". It's like, yeah, this guy.
You know what was funny before we even get into this, and like it fits well because of what you just said. Like, what is a cool job that you would want? Like, just like, and let's not say rich and famous jobs.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about, it can be in entertainment, it can be any industry whatsoever, but it has to be a specific job. And before you go, while you think about it, I have 2. Well, I have 1 married. I have 2 if I were not married. Okay. The other one being just a guy in OnlyFans videos. I feel like that's
your only job. Your only job is to be like, and they shoot you always from here down.
It's just a drifter.
They never show your face.
Yeah, it's just a drifter. I have so many tattoos. Like, anybody who knows me would know right off the bat. But it would just be like, and again, if you're young and single, and I'm talking not at 41, but I'm talking about when I was single in my 20s. If OnlyFans was around, I would just be a drifter for OnlyFans. Like, women, like in my 20s, I look good. I was like, I can move, I can go around, just travel. That would be a great job. But I do like yours even more at my age, my height, and married. And that would just be like a monster in movies.
I was briefly, so when I graduated from high school, I was going to go to Arizona State University. It was like something I was toying with to be a location scout for film. It was like a dream of mine. And so I got to pick that right now. Like, I'd have to pick, like, if it was like not being somebody that's ultra famous or something like that, I would pick being a location production scout. Like, your only job is to drive around places, find shots, send the pictures. You got to send all the pictures and stuff like that. I think that would be a great job.
I did that summer in New York, just traveling around. Like, I would travel around all over New York City and look for location. I was working for Reader's Digest. Well, I wasn't working directly for Reader's Digest. I was working for a company called City Lights Productions.
Oh yeah,
and they were working for the project we were working on was for Reader's Digest. So it was like a long contract. Now I was just a low guy on it. I had just graduated college. I'd moved back to Jersey right before I moved to LA. So that summer I was just I had 2 jobs. I was a location manager. So either in the morning they'd be like, go out here and this is what we need, scout, take pictures, do this stuff, and I come back. Or I would drive the 15 pass, which was a nightmare in New York City.
I bet that must have. Anyway, so yeah, I think that traveling around, getting all the scouting locations for like a big production.
Yeah, I think you'd be great. I liked it because it was seclusion. And I got to see a lot of great places, but I think you'd be really into it because, like, it's fun. You're seeing different places, you're checking it out, you're talking to new people, trying to get a lay of the land, you're taking pictures. And yeah, it's not much else to it. Like, it wasn't for me, but like, and not saying like, well, it wasn't for me, so it's definitely for you. Like, I mean it more along the lines of like, knowing your personality, I think you'd have a lot of fun doing.
I know you get to meet a lot of people and stuff, which I dig. Like it, I just thought it would have been really cool, but ultimately, I mean, like even after visiting Arizona State, which they're like second tier film school in the United States, aren't even first. It's not like UCLA or like.
Oh, they're good though.
They're okay. I mean, who knows what would have happened? I do have friends that ended up going to NYU though, and they work for Peter Jackson.
Dude, I and it's funny because you're not the first person to say that. Somebody who always like the way they talk about their film school or something, they'll be like, it was okay, it wasn't great, and I always say the same thing. I'm like, I went to Full Sail University. When I first started, it was called Full Sail Real World Education. I'm not kidding. That's an accredited for-profit school, and I still worked in the film industry. So like, any college you go to, if it doesn't have Full Sail on it, which I like Full Sail, and I'm glad I went. It's a little too much money it's too much money for the experience that you do get. I feel like I could have taken what I known already and just gone out and done it, but I met so many great people.
I do miss shooting, like, because like in high school and then early in college, we shot guerrilla. We shot guerrilla movies. Like, but one of my friends got me this signed poster from Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell right here, Army of Darkness. That was, so like some of the guys went on to do really, really, really cool things. Like we shot a whole movie where we made a couch float on Lake Michigan, and we were escaping a zombie. So that was pretty. Mick, did you freeze?
Please tell me you have a copy of that movie.
I don't. It got taped over by my roommate my freshman year of college.
Is there anything left in this planet with that movie on it?
I have no idea. I'll try to find it. Some friends of mine might still have it. So we even did digital effects in it. One of my friends had access to a computer that had a complete editing software, and it looks like 17 and 16-year-olds shot it. I'm not gonna lie about that, But I was Dr. Giggles, and my character talked through a computer, and so that was kind of interesting because we had to get the audio from my lines completely separate from the movie, and so it looks like a really bad dub. It looks like a really bad dub because I'm like, and then it's like one line.
Dude, I remember I got fired off of a short film I was working on, and it was like a 1950s like nuclear type movie, but it was called The Bees. And a good buddy, like you met him, Jeremy directed it. I was playing the sheriff in it. He wanted me to play the sheriff in it, and I had it down, like I was like ready to go, and it was like finals week, so I was like stressed to the max because we had finals all week, and he and I wound up getting in this big screaming match, and like he fired me and replaced me, and then like 2 days later he's like, "I'm sorry, man." I'm like, "I don't blame you." And then like we're cool, like he's been on the show and stuff. We're still friends years later. Great
stuff
guy.
Like that happens. It's stressful.
But once I watched that though, and I watched what he did with it, I was pissed. I was like, this would have been really fun if I could have just shut my mouth. Like that was like one of those rare opportunities I had where it's like, just shut your mouth.
Well, speaking of so the bees were like the bad guys in it.
Yeah, they were like mutated bees. And they're like attacking a small town.
That's crazy.
It was very much done in the style of you ever see Popcorn?
Yeah. Both when Joe Bob showed it and separately. Unfortunately, I hate that movie.
I love Popcorn. It's stupid. I love it because it's so stupid. It's such a fun horror movie. For that reason, like Fade to Black and everything, like those movies were just fun. But I think because they're like one location, like indie movie, and like
that's
it just.
I don't know. Do you prefer to shoot that way?
I don't prefer to shoot that way, but
okay.
I've had my fair share of budgets
really
where I'm
change up the story when it's just in one location. But if you're working on a budget, I guess, like I don't know. In high school, though, we shot multiple locations. We even built our own Steadicam.
Nice, really.
I made
counterweight.
So I made a wood harness that like a triangle came out like this, and then I used the shock absorber from a car, and we mounted the camera on top of the shock absorber. So that way, when you turned and you went up and down, it stayed like. Nice. Now it's not as good as a real one.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, we just wanted to get one shot, just like Evil Dead, where it was point of view of the zombies rushing at the two heroes, and they were escaping through the dunes. And the first time we shot it, the camera was like, of course, going like this, and we hated it because this is we didn't want to be like Blair Witch. So like, how do we do it? And I was like, well, we can mount the camera. And like, I kind of wish, have you seen anything with Sam Raimi where he talks about the 2x4 and how they did it?
Oh yeah. I read his both their books actually.
Okay. I wish that I had done it that way instead, because that thing was bulky. And I mean, I was in really good shape back then, but like with an extra 60 pounds, like harnessed on me running through the dunes in the spring, it was like probably 70 degrees. And I just had sweat, just like, and it took like 6 shots. Took 6 shots to get the shot. And that's on old, we shot it on high 8. Like the
high
old,
8, really?
Yeah, those little tapes. We shot it on it with, so the movie was originally on probably 60 or 70 high 8. And we dropped it, we dropped it all into this computer and then just chopped up the movie and put it into a digital file and then output it to a VHS.
Yeah, we used to do that with our high 8s too back in the day, but like a whole like we used to shoot shorts and we thought that was a lot. Like,
is it feature length? It was an hour and 14 minutes, hour and 15 minutes.
Wow, Jesus.
Yeah. We shot 5 hours worth of footage.
That's really cool.
It was fun. Cool. I mean, it was a blast, but like it was our senior year. What else were we gonna do? We didn't do homework, that's for sure.
And you're movie fans, like, but that's what we did too. Because I was fans of the one. I was fans again because we didn't have a budget or anything. We were in high school, and you guys are a lot better off than we were. But yeah,
we had a guy. His dad owned a Christmas tree farm, so anything we wanted, we got.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
He had his dad's credit card, so when we needed like any supplies, we just go buy them from like there was this old military supply store in town and a hardware, and I bet you we dropped easily $400 or $500. Well, just the plastic tarp alone to make the couch float. Because what I basically did is I took a plastic tarp, set the couch on it, and then I took spray-in insulation that you would put in the wall, and I filled the bottom of the couch with the spray-in insulation, and then we sealed it, and it floated.
That's really good. See, but the problem, you should have gotten that tape that what's his name has on those infomercials. They do it with a boat. And it works.
Oh yeah, I don't know if that existed yet, because this is 2000. This is like 2000, 2001.
No, that's awesome, dude, and that's the way you do it. Like we did and it's funny we're talking about doing these films. Just so you guys know, Carolina Fear Fest, who sponsors this show, is bringing back their film festival.
They are. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's good news.
So
are they going to feature any there at the con?
Yeah. Well, we haven't officially announced yet, so I'm just poking it out there, and I'll give you the details as
you got to put yours in, Mick.
No. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that stuff.
I've seen it. It was not that bad. FYI, everyone, I've seen Mick's movie. It's not that bad. He's always like, "Oh, it's terrible."
That's like the worst one too. I wouldn't let you see anything else.
It's better than a student film.
That is a student film. Oh my
God! But it's better than like a student film. Like, I've seen some really bad student films.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen some bad ones, but I'm so, like, we could have done better. Writing it, when you read when you hear those words being read, it's like, oh.
But at least it's properly lit. The shots are established accordingly. It looks like a movie. It doesn't look like somebody shot it on their iPhone.
That's fair. Although now we have big time directors shooting on their iPhone. So
I did shoot a bunch of footage because mine does 4K. I did shoot a bunch of footage for my job. Yes, I shouldn't dog on it too much, but like, you know what I'm talking about, like how people are like, I shot this inside a ring light that was stable and like I could see, and it had an actual like lens on it.
Dude, it's about any way you can get out there and really do it. It works. It's nice. It's fun to be out there and just like killing it, like making your movies and showing them. Like, even if like you're not doing it as your career yet.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like you make your money.
I think it's better when it's not your career. When it's your job, it's a job. When it's not your career, you're going to put more passion in.
Yeah, it's true. When it is your own project, and I can definitely vouch for that because a lot of them were not my own.
It's different when you're working on somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, it really is. I do want to bring up to you guys a few things Stephanie asked me to drop. So we are finalizing the list, the guest list. I'm not announcing anything. I'm not allowed to.
Nobody? No hints?
No hints. I will get killed. That information will be coming soon enough. Like, they will start dropping that as it goes.
Okay.
But it's unofficial. So I shouldn't say finalize. Finalize is the wrong choice. So it's more of an unofficial finalizing, like trying to get the wish list together. But they have reached out. There are some people signed. That's all I'm saying. Be very happy. Be very excited. Year 5. It's going to be great.
Robert Englund.
This year's The Drive for Five.
Oh, I love it.
What movie is that from?
The Drive for Five. I don't know.
It's from the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
I've never seen it.
I don't know why. It's stupid, but I like it.
I didn't even watch the original show. I've seen the original car and everything, but I've never even seen the original show.
I will love that show growing up.
The only thing I know is them Duke boys. That's the only thing that I know. And then Jessica Simpson was in really short.
Daisy Dukes, baby. That's how they were named after the show.
I don't even know.
Her character's name was Daisy Duke.
Mm.
And she wore the short cut-off shorts, and they became.
Who was the original actress then?
Catherine Bach. Yeah, she played Daisy Duke, and the guy who played Cooter lives. Yeah, he became a state senator.
He did.
Yeah. Now he owns two restaurants. One of them right an hour away from me called Cooters. And it's a Dukes of Hazzard theme restaurant, but out back they have driving pit. They do stunts, the whole nine. They do jumps with the cars. They do big show spectaculars and stuff.
It'll be just like a Saturday night in rural Michigan.
Dude, it's made. Yeah. You're in Michigan when the General Lee flies by.
Oh yeah, there are dudes that I went to high school with that painted that bastardized flag right across it, just and pretending that they were. And I mean, I didn't know what the reference was or anything. I just knew the flag. Oh. But they were like, "No, it's from the Dukes of Hazzard." And I was like, "Oh, never."
You know what it is for me? Dukes of Hazzard. I agree. That flag it's pointless. It's just a pointless flag. But I almost want it to go away everywhere so it can just stay on the General Lee. But only because I like the car so much. I don't even give a shit about the flag. But car. It was it would be taking away the red light from Kit.
Knight Rider, yeah.
Now, I understand that the red light does not have the connotation of racism to it through many, many years, and I can fully get it, and I understand why it should be off the car.
Yeah, for sure.
So with saying that, I'm just saying, because I never knew what that was until I was older, and when I watched the show, it was just whatever. It's just a design painting they have on their car. I never cared.
Yeah.
To see it gone, it feels like that piece is gone. So if that makes sense. Now, Am I distraught and fighting for it to stay on? No, absolutely not. I get it. But there's a piece of me that's man, I really wish it wasn't this racist, disrespectful thing in history. So that way, the car could stay. That's it. Just a car.
Nice. The origin of that flag, not to get too far in the weeds historically or anything like that, but the origin of the flag, the stars and bars, the story is actually really intriguing about how they developed what they wanted it to be. And I do think it's unique how it became the symbol that it is. The problem is that everybody's the Civil War wasn't about slavery. And I taught history for a long time. Civil War is about slavery. Period. People are it was about states' rights. States' rights to do what? And then the conversation ends. You've heard Casey and I say that before. The conversation just ends right there. It's states' right to do what? What do they want to do? Make up their own mind. About what? What do they want to make up their own laws? About what? And it just goes down
it's just rooted there. Okay.
I've had so many conversations. Can you tell? I did so many conversations about that because my history teacher in high school taught me it was about states' rights. Then I actually read.
It's I don't know the history behind it, of course. And again, I know should be gone. And I realize on this horror convention podcast we're talking about the General Lee.
The General Lee. But hey,
I like that car. But I'll tell you what, I'll take any. In fact, if I had to have any car, it'd be Ghostbusters, A-Team van. I'm having
not the DeLorean.
Yeah, the DeLorean would probably be third. I was having a tough time with it being third, but.
Number one, hands and it's not even close.
But here's the thing: I don't fit in.
That is true. It is a very, very tight cockpit. Yeah, that's a good point. A-Team van, you would rock that pretty well. It fit Mr. T.
Damn right. And that Ghostbusters car, that's on my bucket list. I want to get 3 friends and drive around New York City in the Ghostbusters car.
That's a 1977, I think, Cadillac Hearse, if I remember right.
Oh, the hearse from Terminator movie. Very nice. That'd be cool. Thank you, Heather. I like that. Heather. That is a good one.
How about the semi from the Terminator 2?
How about the semi from Maximum Overdrive?
Oh, with the giant mask on the front.
Yeah.
Only movie ever fueled by cocaine.
Exclusively.
He said he came to after they were done doing that. He was like, I made a movie.
There's actually a funny story. I'll tell it here. I've talked about it on other shows too, but there's a very famous piece of equipment in filmmaking, and it's a clothespin. What you do is you take the clothespin and you turn it inside out, right?
Okay.
So it's the flat side on the inside, and you use that to pick up like the hot, scrims and stuff that are in the lights and stuff like that, or you can use it to pin certain stuff up. The most versatile and best thing you could ever have is clothespins on the set, on a movie set. Trust me, and because they will always help. You always find something to help them, especially as a grip. But we call them C47s.
Okay.
And now actually, technically, when they're just a clothespin, they're C47. When they're inverted, they're called C74s. Here's why. And now this is not, I don't have the proof of this. It is a long-standing Hollywood story. And when I was told this story, I said to myself, I'm making an active choice to make sure I just choose to believe this story. So it starts out on the days of Cleopatra, the Elizabeth Taylor movie. The big epic, right?
Yep.
They went through so much of the budget on cocaine that they needed more money for cocaine. So what they did was they told the studio while they were out on location, we need to get more C47s on set. And they made it up. But because they needed to have receipts and such to put together,
they bought clothespins,
which they do use. So they bought a shit ton of clothespins, and that's how it became the C47 going forward.
That's awesome.
So
Heather, we actually saw Christine at Carolina Fear Fest last year.
And it was been there the past 2 years in a row, so I don't know. They'll probably have it back the next year if you haven't seen it yet.
I don't know if Radar's watching, but he had a really good picture.
He did. Actually, did you see Twisty Troy's, the guy from Scary Stories Tell in the Dark?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. He did it, but he folded himself under the car like he got run over. Oh, Heather's hearse was there. Oh, I know your hearse.
That's her hearse that had all the
cool.
Dude, that was awesome.
That is. You got a great setup.
Yeah, I loved that.
Now, are all of them yours? Because now this year I think it was just the one hearse, right? But there have been.
It was right in front of the backstage.
But there have been multiple in the past. Are they all yours, Heather? Let's switch gears a little bit, and I do have some more news to give to you guys. Again, as per Carolina Fear Fest, they are going to be at 2 conventions coming up in September. Please, if you guys are going to be out there, one is in South Carolina, one is here in Virginia, and that is the Haunted Screams Expo. That will be in September. And the other one, I have to look up the name. But yeah, please make sure to follow us, because watch our Facebook and our IG for that weekend, because they're going to be doing ticket giveaways for the 5th anniversary. That's pretty awesome. You're going to want to do that.
VIP experience giveaway?
There might be. You just have to follow them and check and see which ones they drop first.
See what the party is this year.
Oh, dude. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
I'll tell you offline. Oh, yes. That would be awesome, because you guys have great... the hearse to me is like a staple.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have it.
But the party's going to be legit. And my costume is going to be legit.
Honestly, I know it's not Fear Fest, but your 300th episode, isn't it? Is it 300?
Yeah.
Yeah.
October 31st.
But I still haven't picked who I'm going to be. My least favorite horror character. There's a topic for one of these. We got to save it.
Least favorite character in a movie. It doesn't have to be horror.
Oh, I thought it had to be horror.
No, it could be anything. I mean, it would be cool if it was horror because it fits Halloween, but
yeah.
Still fits. We're still dressing up. It's still Halloween. We're still going to do our thing. And yeah, that's the 300th. So it's going to be a fun one. I am kicking around an idea for a special live event. So I think you'll have some fun. We'll talk about it.
Let me know.
But yeah, so that's happening. Make sure if you're out at Haunted Screams Expo in Hampton, Virginia, go visit them. And if you're at any conventions coming up and you do see Carolina Fear Fest out there, make sure you step right up. It's a great convention. I love being a part of it. I love that the Scene Snobs has teamed up with them. They are amazing. 100%.
I had a blast, and some of the low key, the best part. We don't talk about this really, or the people, and it's just a blast to having conversations with people all over the place and getting to see how people are dressed up. Obviously that's a con staple, but there's some really, really cool people at it this year.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I did find out the name. It's SC Horror. So South Carolina, SC Horror 2023 will be there as well the same weekend as Haunted Screams Expo there. So there you go. All right, dude, that was your first convention.
Yep.
I'm so glad that Carolina was your first convention.
It's funny because it's kind of my job now, but not horror, obviously.
Well, we dabble in a lot of horror here at the Scene Snobs. And dude, I got to get, I told you the other day, I sent you a message. I was going to send you the new shirt.
Oh, I like the classic ones though. So I have the hoodie too with the green.
You don't like the new one?
No, I love them, but it's like OG. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I love that shirt too. I have that one. I like
to represent the OG stuff. I still haven't gotten a hat. I need to order one, because I always just wear my baseball hats.
I have a hat for you.
Tim's always like, you don't have to wear a hat. You're not, and I'm just like, I don't know. I like wearing hats,
man. That's like the Smash thing.
Yeah, love it.
I just do it because when my hair is long, I won't. But my hair is puffy mode now because it's growing back. Ugh, hate it. But this is it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of dig it.
Oh, it's great.
So that's gonna be the new shirt. But I figure because of course, we have the Hard Geek shirt out, but that one's gonna be the new one. So I'm gonna have a bunch of those coming in. I'm gonna be sporting that.
Love it.
Because I want to wear the horror ones on Discovering Horror when we do them and when we do these.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're just working that out. I'm so I have so much horror stuff in mind, but there's a new campaign that I'm starting, and when we get off here, I'm going to show it to you. I think you'll like it, and I can't wait to see what you think of it.
Does it feature Dokken?
Not yet. I want them.
My mom's new husband. He sees that. And he's like, how'd you get that? I was like, I don't know. This is on Instagram or something. Tim got it. He's like, I have to have that. He's old school. He's like 57, 58. So he's like, I got to have that Dokken poster. I was like, the most important part is not the Dokken part. Yeah. That is the only part that's Dokken. Everything else is Nightmare on Elm Street. And he's like, no, Dokken, gotta have it. And I was like, okay, whatever. We'll try to find one.
Dude, Dokken and that song are brilliant. I love it.
So they can still... When I saw them, they can still hit that note. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try because I'm just going to embarrass myself. But that dream, how he goes up.
Oh yeah.
He can still hit that high note, which is amazing because they're in the early 60s. They're based out of Tampa, Florida. It's technically a super group. I didn't know that.
I mean, what's his name? Was it Tom Capello from The Lost Boys? The saxophonist? I still believe.
He was at a con somewhere.
He's from Jersey.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
Ripped too. He's still for an old dude. He's still ripped.
Which did you ever see the second Lost Boys movie they did?
Is that the Lost Tribe? I think it's called or something.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's about a brother and sister who got caught up in these surfing. Yeah, it's they're surfing. I can't believe I'm even saying this.
So it's funny though. I will say, where they shot the Lost Boys, it's in Los Angeles, and some of the same shots are reused in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's on that boardwalk. It's on the south end of LA. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And so if you look at some of the locations that they are in Killer Clowns, when he does the puppet on the wall, that's about 2 blocks away from the ocean.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
I so random, I know, but we just did that. I hosted that Sunday Scaries, and I did Killer Clowns as the second feature. So I had to deep delve. I had to get some trivia and stuff for people.
You should do that more often, dude. You're good at it.
I liked hosting that stuff, but I don't know, man. The hard part is it's Sunday night. And
that's what we should do. I don't know why we're not doing that on Saturday nights. Now I know you're busy Saturday nights, but you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be then, but on the Discord and show movies, but we host them.
I did
Joe Bob's.
But the hard part is, so I was trying. What was I trying to do? I was trying to play something on Discord the other day. Something changed now to how you can stream movies with an up. So it would be, we'd have to check it out. I don't know. It's fun. I like the idea of Mystery Science Theater 3000ing a movie, but doing it positively. Actually talking about the cool parts of the film instead of just being man, this film sucks. I feel like there's so much negativity in the internet about me. People love to just tear everything down. I mean, we're going to talk about all these monster. I mean, it's not really monster. What would we call it? Deadly animals. They're not monsters. They're just animals. But if you look at them, they're all almost always low budget, right? Almost always low budget. And they show up on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Everybody tears them down. Everybody's like, man, that movie sucks. I don't know. And granted, they said this on Saturday, and I didn't realize this, but actually, I do tend to talk positively about things that a lot of people don't like. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying actively to be a contrarian. I swear I am not trying to be like Oscar from The Office. I'm not trying to be I just think that people's bar for entertainment might be a little bit too high.
Yeah. I agree with you. And honestly, actually, let's have this conversation real quick. Piss some people off. Especially when it comes
I don't mind doing that either.
Especially when it comes to the horror realm. I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna get lambasted, and I'm gonna get killed. I probably shouldn't say it on here. The 80s was not the be all end all of horror movies.
No.
And we need to stop treating it like it was. They did not make the best horror movies. And also, in my rant that I'm going to have here, it's not that I don't like 80s horror movies. It's not like I don't like camp or I don't like cheese, but you have to understand something. And I don't think it is understood, because I think it's very often looked past, is the fact that in the early 80s, when all these movies are coming out, like the Friday the 13th, and all that stuff, and right after Halloween, it was innovative because they were in your face. They were doing something different. They were all the nudity, all the stuff. It was stuff that you hadn't seen on screen. It was the counterculture at the moment, and it kept pushing. When we got to like the mid to late 80s, all it was carbon copies of that stuff because it was working. The studio saw those independent movies were working, and they said, let's push the envelope and make it fun. And that went into the 90s. And I know you hate it, but Scream course corrected. It said, we're going to get rid of that nudity. We're going to get rid of that stuff. And it did for this. I think we can at least respect what Scream did in this sense.
No, I respect Scream.
Reviving it.
My problem is that people treat it as though it somehow invented meta horror, and like it's just not the case.
Oh, Wes Craven's New Nightmare was
beat it by, and granted, it's still Wes Craven, so he gets the credit.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. I didn't like. Obviously, I have a soft spot for the 80s just because I grew up in it. But you're right. Like, people put it on the pantheon and everything like that. And in reality, like, if you actually sit down and examine it and think about it, and like the movies that are good versus the movies that are bad, there's a lot. You said it on the video, Nast. There's just a lot of bad horror in the 80s. They're like,
it was oversaturated. I call horror in the 80s podcasting now. Everybody was doing it. And it just and everybody was copying what worked. And to think that if you really go back and you look at those movies that we look back at now, like Friday the 13th, hell, even Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I'm going to give to this one because it was different than the first one. And it went into the 80s and said, all right, we're going to take this on with a more comedic route. But those are too extreme. There's a lot of other movies, The Changeling, the Exorcist 3, things like that were coming out that at that time they were pushing envelopes in horror because there was the only thing we knew is that it could be successful, but we didn't have a blueprint for it. So yeah, there were movies that copied Halloween, but there was a lot of horror movies coming out that were pushing the agenda, The Entity, stuff like that. So my biggest issue is like it sparked, like we thank Halloween for sparking a vast amount of horror movies being made, but we should be thanking Halloween for the fact that it turned horror and said it's more mainstream. We can all go see it and enjoy it, and it can be successful.
Joe Bob said it was the first true Hollywood horror movie.
Yeah. And in my opinion, when it comes to 80s horror, and again, there's a lot I love that is terrible, and I don't want to watch. I love watching the Garbage Day scene in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Like but it's terrible. It's not a good movie.
Garbage Day.
Trolls 2 is not a good movie. I'm sorry, but like the lore and the fun behind making it, yeah, I get that. But what pisses me off in this whole instance is we have these movies that really were counterculture. They were coming in and they were like, we're going to make movies. We're going to take what they were doing in the 70s and nobody was respecting. And now that we have eyes on us, we're going to take it and we're going to put it in overdrive. And went the wrong way personally. But I think my biggest problem overall is that was, and the argument of what today is, that's elevated horror. That's all it was in the 80s, early 80s. Those movies were elevated horror, and then it got blown out of proportion. Much like we're going to see with the elevated horror today that's different, that is changing society, and it's going to get overblown and overdone like Beau is Afraid. That's right, I said it. It was a terrible movie.
It just like people, the other part is that people try to pretend somehow that anything that they like, first of all, there's no such thing as new. It doesn't. Yeah. Like, don't give me elevated horror in 2023 and tell me that it isn't a story that's already been did at. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy, and cutting new teeth in terms of stuff is very, 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 very difficult. That's why there are S tier films out there that really accomplish it. The 80s very much so. I mean, I said this when I was looking at Friday the 13th. I hadn't really thought about it, but it really is just like, to a certain extent, a carbon copy of how you would view Halloween. And like they use the point of view shots, they use like there's even this element of like, I don't know, like nothing being sacred anymore that was present in Halloween that they continued throughout the 80s. And like, I don't know, I blame 1985's movement splatterpunk personally. Like, I think splatterpunk really took what could have been better. Like, if you look at some of the franchises that are 1980 to 1984, they're doing what you're talking. It wasn't until the late 80s that people like really bought into the excess, and suddenly we had these horror films that were no longer trying to do new things. They were just trying to copy what it are. So in a lot of ways, I'm in agreement with you in terms of that. I just think it's specifically like, You know, a good movie to examine is Nightmare 2, okay? Nightmare 2 pushed boundaries all around to the point where they even adopted a male as the quote-unquote final girl instead of a female, right? So it's trying to do all these new things. Abandoned in 3 on. Now, 3 is really imaginative and everything like that, but it's also one of the most stylized Hollywood horror movies ever made. You know, it really is. It's full of one-liners and all this. So, like, I pinpoint that area from 1985 to 1989, and I blame.
I'd extend it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you because I love your point, but I'd even extend that from like you said 1985. I would even push it to maybe 1993 or 4.
Like, especially, like, you know what movie immediately I think about, and I think it's also Wes Craven. Shows the inmate getting electrocuted in the chair. Shocker. That's the movie I immediately think of, and I was like, really? Even as a kid, you know, watching it being 10 years old, I was like, wow, really? This is what we're doing now? Like, we got a question.
So, like, I like Shocker. It is. I agree with you, but that's the reason I like Shocker is because it's not a great movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. And
I love. Don't get me wrong, I love it a lot. But if you're going to examine it from the lens of a film, like,
oh yeah, oh no, I'm right there with you, bud. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you watch something like Shocker, but even like that, something like that was at least different than what you were getting in the time. You know, like for a time where everything was really saturated, and I know Wes Craven was trying to make movies and like he was sticking to the slasher because like Serpent and the Rainbow was doing well, like, they weren't overly. He wasn't like one of the top directors. He wasn't like a Tim Burton or Steven Spielberg at the time or Martin Scorsese who really could write their own ticket.
Yeah,
I get why he's doing it because he also did Prison. No, did he do Prison? Prison wasn't bad. Prison was different.
I don't remember that one.
I think that was one with Viggo Mortensen, and actually, my old boss was in that movie. It's pretty funny.
Young Viggo, huh?
Kane was in it. That's where Kane got burned.
Oh, that's the full burn that like scarred the back of his head.
Yeah, that was the movie he got burned on. It was pretty crazy. That's where they did like the longest burn or whatever.
I really wanted, like, Bub asked this. Like, honestly, I'm mad. I said this to you the other day, Mick. I haven't watched Maverick in large part because I'm exhausted with retreading things and not having new IPs. Meanwhile, like, so a movie that was breaking ground was The North. Ground. Failed miserably. And everybody's like, we're bored with Hollywood. Go see new things then, because that movie was great.
Yeah, that's why I don't necessarily agree with you, but that's Chris, so I just use your real name. Sorry, dude. But Chris, it's not that I do agree with you. Currently, Hollywood seriously has a lack of originality, and that's the studio overreach. 100%. Will never disagree with that. But there are a lot of properties that are original coming out, especially on streaming, that makes it worthwhile to watch. Like, there's stuff to watch. Like he's saying, The Northman, that's one for sure.
In horror, the Dark and the Wicked will stick with me for the rest of all time, and that was a legitimately original horror.
That guy was really cool to talk to too.
Oh yeah. Remember how when he first came on the stream, I was dogging on the ending.
Yeah. We were watching the movie, right? Yeah, because we
had just finished watching it, and I like, it was the first time I had seen it. I was like, that is 99.9% of a good movie, but the ending sucked. And he came on just when I said the ending. He's like, "What was wrong with the ending?" I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I thought the ending sucked." I just owned it.
No, you did, dude. That's why I knew. I was like, this guy.
I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like, I just didn't think the ending was very good.
It wasn't that great. The horror show was similar to Shocker. I don't know if I remember the horror show.
I don't know the horror show, Deadpool.
Max Jenke versus Horace Pinker. Who wins? But The Gate was a movie I saw at 12.
The Gate has some of the best cover art ever.
Yeah.
That is some great cover art. Now, if you like The Gate, I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's a movie that was made within the past 5 or 6 years where the brothers end up going into a VHS, and it's like the way it's stylized is very similar to the Gate. And
really?
Like, I can't remember the name of it. Like, it was so good that they find this VHS tape after their dad dies or something, and the brother gets sucked into a VHS tape, and the other brother with his wife has to save. Can't think of the name of it.
The Endless. Oh, I know The Endless.
Is that what it is? The Endless?
Is it The Endless where they go back and they visit the cult?
No. That's it. So that's with the two brothers of the Endless, which is another good original, another great original. Was that a Netflix original?
No, that came out. That was traveling the circuit because I remember it came through Skyline.
Okay, but no, I can't. I wish I could remember because it reminded me of all those old VHS games that we played with the board game, where you play the VHS and then you had to play the board game while the VHS was going on.
Yeah. Oh God, that thing.
It was just like that. I can't think of the name of it, but it had the same art. It had the same art style as The Gate, which I love. Beyond the Gates. I think he's right. I think Dadpool's right.
Oh, with Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, that's why I watched it. That's right.
Yes. Okay, I do remember that was a Hulu original. Yes.
Okay.
Because that came out as part of their I don't know, whatever days of Halloween.
I love it. We haven't talked. We probably should talk about Deadly Animals. We haven't even touched on.
I know we haven't even touched on.
I got a great list of 5 that you probably forgot but have seen.
All right, so let's talk about animals. Let's get into it. So we know Deadly Animals has been around for a really long. Deadly Animals in horror movies are a staple. It is a top. I would call it a top subgenre of horror.
And sci-fi.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sci-fi, but I mean, I feel like any subgenre in horror can extend to sci-fi in some way.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like they're like siblings. They're like the what's the term they use? Distant cousins or something like that.
Brothers from another mother.
Brothers from another mother. There you go. And the dad's not paying the support. So we get so you get that, and then it's you get a lot of animal movies. They pop in and they're a staple. They're fantastic. So I figured it would be fun to talk about it. I always get really into animal movies around this time of year because it's warm and you see more animals out, and stuff like that. Jaws, yeah. Day of the Animals was like a summer type movie. Yeah. And I thought we'd get into it a little bit. Now, you said you have 5 movies.
5 that maybe you might have forgotten.
Okay.
If you didn't forget them, it's all good. But these are 5 that I've seen, and they're 4 from the 70s and 1's from the 80s.
Okay.
But these are 5 that I've seen that I immediately thought of. Have you seen Frog?
Oh, yeah, I've seen Frogs.
Okay, we watched that on Midnight Marathon one time. Night of the Lepus.
Oh, the bunnies? Yeah.
Yeah, killer rabbits. Phase 4.
No, I don't know if I know that one.
Those are killer ants. They're killer ants. Make me itch just thinking.
I know them. I don't know that one though.
No, so it's from 19 I want to say 73 if I remember right. How about this one? Food of the Gods.
It sounds familiar.
So Harry, if I remember right, Harryhausen did the stop motion animation for the animals, and any animal that eats the food gets gigantic. Old 3D picture for drive-in from the 70s. And then the last one's from the 80s, Slugs.
Nice. I remember Slugs.
So those were 5 that I immediately thought about that, because you have the obvious ones, right? And especially the 90s really bought into this, especially and then Snakes on a Plane, stuff like that, is really kind of spoofed it.
I'd almost argue that the 90s brought it back. I feel like that was the one. Not saying that they don't exist in the 80s, Man's Best Friend, things like that. Yeah, I know, and stuff like that. But I would say actually, Man's Best Friend was 1993. So if anything, it strengthens my point. But for me, you talk about 80s animal horror movies. I can't off the top of my head really think of much other than Cujo. Alligator was 1980, but I mean, then you have the Jaws movies. Razorback.
What Piranha from the 80s? The original Piranha?
I think it was 79. I won't say it was 79. I think 2 was in the 80s.
And recently you have Piranha 3D and then Piranha 3 Double D. But
yeah.
Some crazy titles. Crazy.
So what counts as an animal movie? Does The Fly count as an animal movie, or is that
I say no. I say The Fly doesn't. And here's why. The Fly goes into what I call transmogrification, okay? Where you have humans becoming human-like animals, and you get into that kind of lycanthropy with werewolf. You get into all those different ones. When you have a transformation movie, it's different than an animal movie. Animal movie, it truly is an animal. It doesn't have any other when in The Fly, he still has a human intellect, if I remember right. Does he not?
Yeah, he does. Well, I mean, for the most part, he's losing it, but that's when the famous ending comes. And
Bub, Watership Down only counts if that kid's book, Martin the Warrior, Mossflower, Madame Mio, Redwall, those.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's a horrific story, but I wouldn't call it horror as much as, in a weird way, realism.
Here, you know what? is not like, how about this? It's not necessarily the animals are scary, but I got one.
While you're doing that, Steven says Hounds of Hell or Rottweiler 3D. And he says Dogs from Hell, maybe. Early 80s movie has like 4 names. I think this is the one Quentin Tarantino was, they challenged Quentin Tarantino on one of these late night talk shows. I think it was Jimmy Fallon. And they were reading VHS boxes to him while he was blindfolded, and he had to guess the movie.
How did he do?
He was like 100% right.
Oh my gosh.
And that Rottweiler was one of them. Like, he reads it and he goes, yeah, it's Rottweilers from 1980 something or whatever it was. And he goes, no, it's called Hounds of Hell. And he goes, it's called Rottweiler back then. There's a bunch of names for it.
Yeah. Depends what distributor released the movie.
Oh, shit. It was filmed in North
This
Carolina.
Movie scared the living crap out of me as a kid.
Which one?
Does that count?
How the hell did you do that? Like, it was like a ghost was in the house. Like, you turned the light off and it was just there.
And
I didn't see you lift your arm up.
It blocks the light.
I love it. Yeah, that was a terrifying movie as a kid.
Scared me, and it has like or like another one that kind of scared me as a kid was Rockadoodle, which is actually based on like a old Knight's Tale with Chanticleer. But I don't know, like it.
That's a good one. That's a good choice. Fievel goes American, a Fievel Tale or American Tale.
American Tale. Miranda won't let me watch in the house because she cries when that Somewhere Out There song comes on.
That freaked me out. Like, am I gonna get lost? Like, what's gonna happen here? Am I gonna die?
So looking at our notes with the list and everything like that, like this is a staple genre that I don't think you put it in there with something like natural disaster film. You put it akin with those. Like, we're actually just afraid of the natural order of things. Willard, oh my gosh, with the rats.
Would you put the new one or the old Willard? And Orca? I mean, Orca's crazy.
I didn't know there was a new one. When was the new
one?
With
Crispin Glover. It was maybe 15 years ago.
Crispin Glover's in a Willard movie?
He played Willard.
That's got to be weird. I got to watch it.
It is a weird movie. It's perfectly weird for him.
I feel like I need to learn how to do the Crispin Glover dance from
that interview?
No, Friday the 13th part 4, is it? It's part 4, right?
I would give anything to see you just dance that at the festival. Or right now. Perfect.
I don't like I can't even do it because like I've tried to dance without any kind of rhythm before, and it's not like I'm an amazing dancer or anything like this, but it is harder to dance without rhythm than to dance with it, because you have to actively think about moving the opposite of what everything else. And like, I would love to be able to. That'd be crazy.
Dude, Church the Cat from Pet Sematary. But does that count as an animal horror?
Well, okay, so is Pet Sematary animal horror, or is it like...
It's more supernatural.
Supernatural in the vein of like a poltergeist or something like that? Like,
because the cat's there, but the cat's not in the mainstay. The cat's just like...
You move the headstones, but you never moved the damn bodies, did you? Craig T. Nelson.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
I can't believe you're not amazed that I have this VHS.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you on that, Steven. It is a scary. Church is probably the scariest. That is a cool VHS to have, though. Don't get rid of that.
You know what the coolest VHS is, though? I have the original. I got this at a yard sale. Original. Completely off topic, but
they're horror themed.
Good old Dark Crystal, man.
I do love a good Dark Crystal. That's like I'm not a huge fan of like 70s animation. Talk about horror movies.
What was that? The Wizard of Oz one where they used stop motion. That was so scary.
Remember the TV version of Alice Through the Looking Glass where the Jabberwocky comes out?
Oh my God.
You don't talk about horror, man.
Dude, I feel like they brutalized us with television as a child.
I don't know I've heard of it, the Prophecy from the 70s, but I've never seen it.
The only one I know is the Christopher Walken.
What was that? Was that a Christopher Walken impersonation?
Sure.
I need more.
In the 90s, he didn't have as much. He didn't have as much of the hesitation as he did when he did SNL. So if you watch the Prophecy 1993, he delivers his lines kind of normally.
Yeah, he does, but there's still that Christopher Walken air of like he walks into a room and it's just tough.
Kingdom of the Spiders. That's a great
movie. That one.
I don't. So if you delve into William Shatner's filmography, you actually find some of these deep cuts like that where he's playing some crazy stuff. Or if you go back to his westerns from the 60s. Looking at okay, so how do you differentiate? How about this? You have the 70s was a big time for this topic, deadly animals. And then the 90s were a big time for this topic. Yeah. Why were they popular in those time periods? Think about Anaconda, 1997. Why were deadly animal horror popular in those times? What allowed them to be popular?
I think all right, this is merely just me thinking.
Speculation.
pure spec. I think it's because certain subgenres of any movie, but since we're talking about horror here, I think certain subgenres, when they're not being used for a period of time, like the 80s just really didn't use.
Yeah.
More.
Plus, Cujo was technically written in 1978.
True. And I mean, and I'd almost say, like, yes, it counts. Of course, it counts as animal horror. I'm not taking that away, but it's a Stephen King property. So, like, if you're asking how did this get made in the 80s when they weren't really doing it, it's because Stephen King's name was on.
Bob, Beast is not as scary. I'd say it's more of a thriller. I love Idris Elba. Like,
yeah.
It's not like Cujo. They don't paint it. It's like the closest I would say, if you've seen The Gray, it's more like The Gray than like Cujo, but not as good. The Gray is a master. Oh, come on. It's modern naturalism. It's wonderful.
We'll wait.
The breach to the last good fight I'll ever know.
We'll wait till our boring, our boring, somewhat trying to be a thriller podcast starts, and we'll talk about The Gray.
It's not boring. It's so good. Oh my! If you haven't seen The Gray out there, watch The Gray.
Revisiting FX technology. That's a good point. And actually, it's funny you mention that because that's going to be a topic coming up where we talk about practical versus
digital. How about Dune, where like 70% practical, isn't it?
We cannot talk. I will get in trouble, and so will you, if we talk about special effects and horror movies on this show. And Destiny's not. She has her own.
Just wants to get into the weeds with that one.
She has a special effects company. So, like, if I don't include her, I might as well just beat the shit out of myself.
Just quit now.
Just quit. So, I'm
we'll save it. We'll save it.
But for animal movies, I do agree that, yeah, I think Jurassic Park was a big push for what you could do with animals in movies now.
What about bats? Do you remember Bats?
Fuck yeah, I remember Bats. I love Bats.
I love that movie.
It's a terrible fucking movie, and it is exactly what I'm talking about when I say you overuse a certain subgenre.
Yeah.
But I love that movie, and I will watch it any day of the week because it is fucking
Arachnophobia remake.
I love this. If you're scared, say you're scared. I am scared of getting beat up by Destiny.
Oh, I'm scared. Destiny will beat us up 100%.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with her.
She'd take me. And like, I consider myself to be like a worthy kind of like. I
just don't move. I just stay still because I know if I move, I'm gonna hurt myself.
Did you ever watch? So like, if you want to see when this topic becomes bad. You ever seen 8-Legged Freak?
Oh, yeah.
With David Arquette?
I got a funny story for that. I was watching, I worked at a movie theater. I was a projectionist when that came. And it was like the only thing horror-wise that was playing.
Oh, it was the only, like that and Ghost Ship were like pretty close to each other.
Yeah. But Ghost Ship wasn't out at the time because I remember that week we had like nothing going on and nobody saw this movie. There's nobody in the theater. So I watched it like 4 times while I was at work, just fucking off because nobody was in the theater, so nobody was gonna know it was there.
Yeah.
So like I would start the projections, go. If I had to get up, I'd run, go start the next movie, and then come back and finish. I did that, and like I don't know why that movie.
Film. I mean, like David Arquette, like just phones it in. So the 2000s, it did kind of drop off. I'm trying to think of, has there been anything that's like animal horror in the past decade?
That terrible TV show that got 2 seasons on CBS called Zoo.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Dude, you're not missing anything. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
It's just animals going crazy.
I mean, we do have the occasional, like, I would say though, like, so if you watch something like Piranha 3 Double D, which I saw, my wife and I went to go see because we thought it'd be, she loves this topic. It's such a bummer that I couldn't, she went out tonight. Like,
oh, that sucks.
Oh, dude, she makes me watch so many terrible, deadly animal movies. She will talk about a movie called Grizzly Rage. She and my brother love it. And I was like, you guys, and like, I wanted to stop it from happening that bad. I was like, stop this from occurring to my face. So, I mean, it's not like they're not out there. It's just they're all extremely low budget. And then I would actually say that something like Cocaine Bear doesn't fit in because the bear actually ends up being the good guy by
It still counts. It still counts as horror.
You think it counts? Everybody's cheering for the bear at the end. The only bad guy is Ray Liotta.
Dude, don't give me that. Every animal horror movie you watch, you're cheering for the animal. Every horror movie you want the animal.
Certainly not.
You are the worst. All right, are we getting into
for Quint?
Are we getting into
Quint? That's what I'm cheering for in that damn Quint.
I cannot. You're the only person on the planet who thinks the first half of that movie is boring.
First third of that movie. They could just start it with the meeting. Start it with the meeting. I don't need to watch the entire first third of that movie.
You are insane. That opening is jarring.
Get to the point, Steven.
Oh my god, that is the point. Everything is
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The point's a shark.
Every shot is a character building moment in that show, in that movie. Every shot. When
As
they
I'm
get
saying
on the
this,
ferry,
we have an entire. So Miranda loves it so much. We have an entire shrine. If you saw them, actually, so Carolina Fear Fest, they have great artists there. I bought her a 4-print series from the official artist Carolina Fear. Okay, he did a great job with them. However, I didn't buy a picture of the mayor. I didn't buy a picture of, like, I bought the boat, Quint, and the other 2 guys. I'm trying to think of their names.
All right.
That's what I bought. You know why? Because those are the ones I wanted to look at. Let's get in the fucking boat. Let's fight the shark, and let's get done. Like, why do we have to have the whole buildup?
I have an idea for a show for us, because we talked about this. We talked about a show where you and I would talk about the movies that you don't like, that society just loved. And like, when you say these outlandish things, that I'm just like, you stop it. Like, you're a maniac.
Pause, Scream, Titanic.
So here's what I propose. Here's what I propose for you. We start holding live events on the Patreon.
Just watching.
People can pay just for the event, or they can sign up for the Patreon and watch it. And it's you and I watching these movies and arguing about them while we watch them.
You know what? You want to know what other movie I think is overrated? I guarantee you like. It's another Spielberg. Jurassic Park.
I fucking hate it.
Jurassic Park is overrated.
I don't.
Get the fuck
out of here.
Fast.
Jurassic World is overrated. Jurassic Park 2 is overrated.
The only good part of Jurassic Park, he says, hang on to your butt.
Somebody who I consider a good friend.
I like Steven's comment.
I fucking hate you. Wes is amazing. Yes, he is. Every point at Master Shake. Everyone point at Master Shake. I'm like, yes, I'm with you, Steven. Boo this man. Boo this man.
Jaws is overrated. Jurassic Park is overrated. I'm not saying I don't like the films. I like the films.
I'm not arguing with you. We're doing, if you and I talk off air and we decide to do this, I will have those decisions, or we'll talk off air. I'm not doing this for free, because this is this
Mick's like, I'm not going to get mad for free.
This hurts my brain when I hear people talk about great movies and they're just like, they're overrated. And I'm like, I can name Casino's overrated. Casino's an overrated movie. I'd argue that.
It is kind of boring in the middle.
But Jurassic.
I'm sorry. Miranda loves watching that movie all the time. I'm like, can I
It hurts so
Hey, Steven,
hard.
So here's the thing. I am not going to play the at the time game. Okay.
But were they overrated at the time?
And when I was a kid and I was 10 years old and I saw Jurassic Park, I did think the same way I think now. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, but people will put it up there against The Godfather. People will put it up against Alien. They'll put it up there against some of these Pantheon level movies. And I'm sorry, it just isn't there.
Yes, it is. I disagree.
No, it isn't. Jaws isn't there. Like, they're just not part of the Pantheon. They're not gods, Mick. There's gods, and then there's not, and they're just not gods.
I would argue. I would stand with you and argue that the movies that people put up with, like the Godfathers.
Okay, put up Steven's comment. I love that.
What does he say? Well, the Godfathers. I would disagree with that too. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And the Godfather 1 and 2. Now, if you put a 3 behind that, I will.
Nope, it didn't suck. It is above average. It's an above average film.
You just said Jurassic Park and Jaws are overrated,
and Godfather 3 is underrated. It's not a great film.
I hate you.
But it's above average. It's better than the average film. If I were grading it as a teacher, I'd give it at least a B-.
I would fire you from being a teacher. I don't know what job you can have with thinking like this.
When you have the Godfather 3 right next to, let me pick a random movie from our list here. Godfather 3 versus Lake Placid.
I'll throw you. No, I'm not even going to throw you a life preserver when I push you over the boat. I'm not.
It's above average. It's above average. Okay, here is something that I think every film critic should decide. In baseball, they have something called the Mendoza line. It's a hitter that can consistently hit 220 and generally get on base. It's considered an average baseball player.
Okay.
So what is your Mendoza line for film? What if you're going to pick one film that you said is exactly, not more, not less, exactly 75%, exactly a C. What movie would you say?
What movie out of the entirety of movies?
You gotta give me a comparison, because I alredy know what mine is. If I'm gonna pick an average film, like 75% across the board, not, like up and down and up and down and up and down, like exactly 75%.
Don't worry, Steven. It's coming back to movies.
It is. Like, yeah, so Steven, don't tune in then, but like we have a show that deals a lot with sports betting and stuff. I'm featured on it, like movies.
It's a fun show, even if you don't like sports. All right.
What is your Mendoza line? Because I know what mine is.
All right. So okay. All right. Can we just stick to horror for this one, and we'll do the regular on another?
Okay. I know what
because I have to really think about
that matters though, doesn't it? What you like? So if you're considering what I consider here,
I think it matters in certain conversations. Well, yes, but I'm talking about just from horror perspective. I do agree that it does matter when you switch, but like, what's a scene
actually in
movie?
horror? I think it matters because they're like the if I were going to select a film and say this is exactly a 75, this is exactly like this is passing, not below average, not above average, but exactly. What movie would I pick?
I'm sticking horror. What is yours? I have to think about all movies. I can't.
If I'm picking exactly this is the average, I'm gonna say you know what I would say is like right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Scream 4.
Is a C movie?
75% exactly.
Wow. I would put that lower.
75% exactly. When I went to go see it. So I didn't like it. I've said it before.
Mine's harder than yours then. Mine is a harder Mendoza line.
It probably this matters. Like mine would be Scream 4. So here's the thing. I appreciate what it's trying to do in terms of Gen Z.
I love that. A good.
That's a good general description. Yeah. Like, so this is the thing. It's like it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't poorly made. Scream 4 is not poorly made. Mm-mm. The plot isn't terrible. I appreciate.
It's better than the third movie's plot.
Yeah, it's better than the third one. I appreciate what they're trying to do in terms of Gen Z, but I didn't necessarily come out of the theater like, wow, that was great. Like I came out like, wow. You know, they didn't really do a whole lot new.
That wasn't Gen Z.
Oh no, it wasn't. That was late millennial, wasn't it?
That was like 2010, dude.
Wow.
They're like on the lower spectrum of us.
Yeah. So for what it's worth, like that's my horror Mendoza is Scream 4. I rewatched
it with my wife, dude. I fucking hate you for having such a low bar because you said Jurassic Park is overrated, and your low bar in the horror movie Mendoza line is Scream 4.
Scream 4. But Jurassic Park isn't horror.
We're gonna do all movies. We'll continue that tomorrow on Mick at Night, but we're gonna stick with horror here on Horror Conversation. Okay.
What's your Mendoza line for horror? I gotta hear this because like it's something you watched it. So I'm gonna put it in terms of like my stepdad always called movies this, and it bugged the hell out of me. This is the most neutral statement ever. It's watchable.
Yeah. See, this is where I don't want to say it because people are going to get mad at me.
Who cares? Dude, I said Jaws and Jurassic Park are overrated. I'm going to get murdered by my wife because those are in her top 5.
Yeah, she's smart and she knows what's up.
She's smarter
good movie story, terrible effects, and could distract.
My brother will fight you on that, Steven.
I would argue that a little bit. They're dated, but I definitely think for its time it was.
Plus, isn't Josh Hartnett in it? And that dude rules. I love Josh Hartnett.
I do like Josh. All right. Okay. This is where people are going to get pissed.
Good.
My C level for horror movies. Or I don't want to say it. Is like Friday the 13th.
Okay, from now on, I want you to compare when you go see a new horror movie, compare it to Friday the 13th, because that's what I do. So that's what I do in terms of movies. I think about it in terms of, okay, what do I truly consider average?
Yeah, I guess dated, I guess, is a better description. Yeah, no, but I mean, like, I get what you're saying. Again, I would agree that that's a good pop.
I would probably grade it out at like a B-.
Yeah, I'd probably be there with you.
Probably because I got to make out with the girl when I watched it.
I would even put it at a C- personally. Like I like
B-? You put it below average?
But look at
it's
my
worse
list.
Than Friday the 13th?
My Mendoza line is Friday the 13th from 1980. And that is
that's why I'm like Friday the 13th for me, ladies and gentlemen, is like a B+. So I just want to throw that one out there.
You son of a bitch! You throw me under the. I love Friday the 13th, but I don't think it's
right here. I have it on my wall.
I have it up. I don't think it's the best in the franchise. So, like, if we're really going C, I am stringent. I am strict on my rules for horror. Like, I want it to be a good story. I want it to be, and like, I love Friday the 13th, and a lot of what they did is well respected. But as far as story goes, it is a ripoff of Halloween put at a summer camp. And if you want to get
I don't disagree with that, and I still put it as a B.
And if you want to get technical, problematic as it may be, but just from that standpoint of a simple story that is more interestingly told, it's Sleepaway Camp.
You think Sleepaway Camp's problematic? I think it's progressive.
There is a lot of trans community finds it problematic because of how it wasn't a trans actor at the time, but like trans material is portrayed. So like trans people in movies being portrayed as vicious psychotic killers, that was a norm in movies. So like that's where the problematic really lies, is like how they were portrayed.
Watch it. She's not crazy. The mom is what did it.
I mean, there's a lot of arguments. But it is like, I'm only stating that it is problematic. Like there are problems.
Like you don't particularly subscribe to it, but like
I would have to have the discussion, because there are things where, yeah, that argument can be made. And yes, you are saying that this is the trans character in the movie that is acting this way and killing.
Yeah.
But you're right. I'd say the bigger argument could be made for like child abuse and how the aunt was raised the child. And
so did you know that, I don't know if it's inspiration for the film or not, but Ernest Hemingway was raised that way for the first 6 years of his life.
It helped him become a great writer.
His mom separated from his dad at an early age, and his mom dressed him up as a little girl because she wanted a little girl for the first 6 years of his life, until he came to live with his dad in Michigan.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's connected or not, but just a little like.
That's just like crazy to hear, like a story like that. You never knew. Let's see.
Night of the Creeps is one. Ooh,
can't compare modern movies to older movies. I do, but I do it more from a storytelling and filmmaking standpoint. So, like, if the camera looks grainy or the camera looks like an 80s style film camera, low budget, I forgive it because I know what it was. You know, digital cameras, of course, are going to make everything look more crisp and clear. So I forgive that aspect of it. But shot for shot, you can have good shots, bad shots, and tell bad stories. Recently watched The Fog for the first time, enjoyed it, but had I wanted it back in the day, I probably would have loved it. I agree. I mean, I love The Fog, and I did watch it back in the day, so like maybe that is something that plays into it.
You mean
Antonio Bay, baby?
Is that awesome?
Yeah.
I got this whole series, so I got Antonio Bay.
Nice. I know some of you guys hate me for what I had just said.
75%.
What you got there? See, so I know you guys hate me for what I had just said about Friday the 13th, but keep in mind, all of those posters are for the remakes. That's a Dr. Sleep poster, not a Shining poster. So
that is not known. Oh my God, Mick. Now I don't like that. So that's a movie, another movie that I think is underrated. Like, I think people are really, like, when people react to film, often they don't think about what their Mendoza line. You know what's funny is, like, think about your Mendoza line regarding movies sometimes. You know where I have a really low Mendoza line that is embarrassingly low? Romantic comedy. I have such a soft spot for romantic comedies. I will watch You've Got Mail. I'll watch, if you popped in right now, I'll be like, man, I'll watch You Got Mail. Like, that's
not even an A movie. That's a B+.
You've Got Mail is a B+ movie.
You've Got Mail is great. I love it. But if I'm really ranking movies, and I can be tough on movies, like a C rom-com for me, you have to bring real true comedy to it.
You know what my C movie would be?
What?
There is a movie called Down to You with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh my God, I know exactly what it is with the models.
That is my. So he and Julia Stiles are in it, and
I was thinking of the other one, Head Over Heels.
So Down to You. He falls in love with Julia Stiles, and they fall out, and they have to get back together. Like, that's my Mendoza line. I'll watch it. It was watchable. Like, I think people need to think about what the Mendoza line is. There's a new thing for you, Mick. Develop a Mendoza line for film, because it doesn't exist that I know of.
I'll work on it with me. We can do a whole book about
it. The film Mendoza line, because people are really bad at judging media in large part because they don't think about what averages. Everything should be judged against. You have to do comparative analysis. You lose sight and have biased opinions about it. By juxtaposing what you think something is against what you consider average, you aren't juxtaposing it against an extreme. You're juxtaposing it against a mean, and that's how data works. You want to compare to the mean, not to outliers. You don't want to compare a movie to The Shining. You never want to compare a movie to The Shining. You want to compare a movie to, for you, Friday the 13th.
But if you want to argue that, you have to argue that your Mendoza line is going to change throughout your life. So when you're young,
of course,
your Mendoza line, because you haven't seen much, It's going to be very different.
And it's influenced by what you have and have not watched. If you are underrepresented in any specific genre, then your Mendoza line is not an accurate line. However, in horror, I would say that you and I have like pretty consistent Mendoza lines between the two of us because we have seen. Now ours are very different because they come into play with a lot of different influences. But
I take personal feeling about the movie out. Like if I put personal feeling about Friday the 13th back in, it's a much higher movie.
Yeah.
Because I do love that movie and there's a lot of like personal stories I have for it. So if I have to, for the Mendoza line, for me, I have to take all of that true passion and love that I have for movies out. Because if I keep that in there, I cannot judge it fairly. Like Back to the Future.
So, okay. What can we call it other than the Mendoza line? Because that's a baseball player. So
okay, well, what's a line? What's a movie term that goes along with line?
The Bay line.
The Bay line. I don't know.
Michael Bay is the 75%.
Where are you reading this? Somebody comment that because that's pretty good.
That's mine. No, I just came up with it.
I would not put Michael Bay at 75%. That's a straight up 50% right there.
What?
Hit or miss. We can argue that.
Well, he makes good looking movies. They look good. A 50% would be like Pieces or something like that.
All right, I got it. I know what we could call it, the crane kick line, because you have to admit you may love the Karate Kid, but the crane kick is stupid.
Oh, it's stupid.
It's a stupid.
It's also illegal.
Yeah. Oh my God, he kicked him right in the fucking face.
Right
Just said you can't do that.
Literally say no strikes above the neck.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But we still love it. He still did it in Cobra Kai, and I'm like, yep. I'm good.
The Miyagi line.
Oh my God, dude. The Miyagi line. I love it because
I don't disagree. I don't honestly, I think people forget how sad that. I think people forget. Remember that scene where Mr. Miyagi? So as a kid, you don't even pay attention to that. But now as an adult who has friends, like you and I both lost friends. We didn't have tragedy. I watch Mr. Miyagi and I'm like, oh my God, this is sad. Now, here's I don't necessarily agree that it's the 75% because that as an adult and the level of commiseration I have, maybe it's because I was a teacher for 50, but I see, Miyagi as a teacher for Danielson and he pulls them out of this kind of funk into a productive kind of mentality. And I see it as a Miyagi story, not as a Danielson story. So
yeah, I agree. And it turns around. And one thing I love, one of my favorite quotes about that movie is somebody was like, Mr. Miyagi didn't teach Danielson to believe in himself. He taught Danielson to kick people in the fucking head, because it's true. There's nothing in that movie that's believe in yourself and you'll make this work. It's get the tactics down, work on it, get the skills set, and then go kick ass because you've learned it. There you go. That's how we do it in Japan. Good luck. Whereas you watch,
he's gonna kill us for getting so far off the track, but I don't care.
I know, but
that's it. We've stumbled onto something that I think is relatively.
We're gonna continue this tomorrow on Mick at Night. I'm down with the Miyagi line. I like that, and then just kind of roll with it from there. But I do agree we should probably lower it from 75. Let's just put it at 65, which is in most schools.
80.
You want to put it at 80? No.
80.
Dude, there's so many movies that'll be below it. You're gonna get so mad, dude. If you raise the Miyagi line to 80, I'm telling you.
I'm just saying that's where I rate karate. For me, I don't know what I would call it. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. But there should be a film equivalent of what an average film is. A standardized kind of bar. Somebody a Will Smith line.
I don't know, dude. This could be really good. This could be fun. This could be a really fun one. But I'm trying to think.
I want to know everybody's I want to know Tim's average. I want to know Radar's. I want to know everybody's average. I want to know Jason's average.
We have to set the average. This is the Miyagi line is us. This is our thing. So we set the average, and that's where it is. It's done. So we could choose to keep it at 70.
75 is fine. Yeah, I can, because of the negatives in it, especially and it's not a particularly well shot movie. Karate Kid, if you watch it, it's not a particularly well, and they almost try to make it it's weird, even though it's the 80s, they try to make it one of those 60s beach movies where they have those two scenes at the beach and
it's literally Rocky. John Avildsen.
Oh yeah. Supposedly it's in the same universe is what I heard.
It probably is. I mean, it's John Avildsen directed both, so I mean, and
it's the same soundtrack too. Who's the soundtrack? It's
Bill Conti. Yeah.
Conti did the soundtrack.
So it works.
The Miyagi line. I like it. The Miyagi line.
I like the Miyagi line. Did I ever tell you my dad hated the Karate Kid? He refused to believe that a Jersey kid is going to move to California and get his ass kicked by some beach blonde. He called him a lot of names back in the day.
Yeah.
It was baby boomer. So
never mind, he's like huge. He's like twice Danielson's size.
He's like, dude, he's from Jersey. There's no way he's getting his ass kicked. I call bullshit. This movie sucks. And I'm like, oh my God, Dad, Jesus. I do love
All right,
this.
we're getting long in the tooth. We probably should wrap this up. We did talk.
Yeah.
Destiny, we talked about animals for at least.
We did. Steph and Des, we love you. I love this. Karate Kid taught us to stand up against bullies and push back against bullies. 30 years later, we support the bully. You're not wrong, dude. But you know what? The thing I like about Cobra Kai is it's that everybody has a story and they show you the different perspectives. And that's what it should be about. I do agree standing up to bullies, but that bully also has a story. And as adults, we should learn those stories.
Probably the reason why they.
Yeah. I mean, as adults, if we can step in, and Dan was a teacher, I'm sure he can attest to this, we can maybe help stop the creation of bullies. So lead by example. But with that, we are not talking horror anymore and on this horror podcast. So we're going to end this because I actually have an interview with this man. Tomorrow night, we are going to be on Mick at Night. That's at 9 p.m. here on the Scene Snobs.
Establishing the Miyagi line.
We're going to that's what we're working on. We're going to establish the Miyagi line, maybe some movies just to get it in there, make a list. I'm going to make a fucking letterbox for this, dude. I'm in. It's going to be great. So I'm Mick Manhattan. There's Dan, the Man Master Shake. I appreciate you for coming on, man. We had a good talk with you. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Chris, Steven, hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Heather, thank you guys for all your comments and joining in. Anybody who's watching, please feel free to hit
that Carolina Fear Fest for sponsoring this great podcast.
Yeah, this is their podcast, so go check them out. Follow them. Everything is right in the description below. Like, subscribe, follow, whether it's here on Carolina Fear Fest YouTube, wherever you're watching, and just come hang out with us because it's a lot of fun. All right, until next time. Dan, you got anything you want to say, my friend?
Catch you guys on the flip side.
Later, Gators.